Hi, this is ProACT Sam for this episode of the Living and Working Abroad show. We've got many experts in our team that can help you with advice on pensions, investments, tax returns, company formations, living and working abroad on a 60-day rule, a 90-day rule, or just living and paying no tax on your overseas income or dividends legally in a very safe and sunny environment. But given the way the world it is, I thought we'd also cover the fact that we look after family and business across border and down generations. So when people die, our legal team look into managing your affairs, administering the transfer of your assets from you to your family, whether that's a spouse, a partner, children, adopted children, a trust, a charity, a corporation. And the legal ownership of your assets has to pass from one person to another. That can be a very, very complicated job, or it can be a very simple job. There are two ways to do it, but somebody's got to do it and someone's got to pay. For Cyprus expats, we always give a heads up to be careful that the lawyers can charge technically up to 10% of the estate, but it is a difficult job, so it can be very expensive anyway. There might be retrospective taxes if you've not done those in the past, so it's a very, very complicated affair. If you've got assets in different countries, you may need to have a residency requirement to carry out that work as well. Again, it gets more complicated, but the ProACT team of tax, investment, pension, legal, and property advisors are able to manage that whole portfolio for you for expats living and working abroad and relocating overseas. So what I want to do now is just to look, is there a good way to die? If you're living and working abroad, or if you're living, is there a good way to die? And I just want to muse through, and maybe after you've watched this, you can leave a message below and comment and see which is the best way you think is to die. And there might be some dark humour in this, so please don't be offended. People die, people pass. We need to live the life and celebrate the life when people pass, as is my Irish tradition. So, what is a good way to die? For me, it could be in your sleep, or it could be while you're on an adventure. You could be in the middle of a hiking adventure, passing over rapids, going down a deep sea diving, or something like that, and an accident could befall you and you're instantly dead. That might be a way to go. Landing on the moon, that could be another adventure death that you could do. Or a good way to die could be happy. But as I've mentioned earlier, the complications come when you come cross-border. When you come cross-border, you've got different jurisdictions. So if you've got investments or savings or property or cars or businesses in different countries, then you need different administrations. So if you've got investments in the Isle of Man, in the UK, in Cyprus, in the Middle East, in the USA, all those different assets all need a separate legal authority in the tax jurisdiction where the assets are held to get that dealt with. So suddenly you've got a complication of not just a local affair, but a complicated affair. If you die in the EU, you should do a worldwide administration, probate administration, in the country in which you die. So if you die in Cyprus, you should do a worldwide probate administration in Cyprus for your worldwide assets. But still, you might have to go back to the UK to get your property transferred into another name, or the investments to be transferred, or the pension to be released. And it's especially complicated in the UK because what the UK want is your tax. They want inheritance tax on your pensions, on your property, on your investments, on every little thing that you own. Other countries don't have inheritance taxes or don't charge them at 40% like the UK. That's about planning ahead. So a good way to die is to plan ahead to avoid those taxes. And the first step in that is having a will and not dying without a will. If you die without a will, those laws of intestacy apply, and the money goes down a specific pattern. If you die without any relatives or beneficiaries named in a will, then the money goes to the government. It's the ultimate tax where you get 100% of your assets in your estate. If you make a will or if you've got beneficiaries, remote family blood relatives can all benefit. So with a will, you could leave the money to a stranger or you could leave it to a charity. But without that, it will go to a spouse, to children, blood relatives, and then it gets spreads out to potential beneficiaries being siblings and children, nephews, cousins, nieces, and the like to a third degree. Whoever that involves, if you've not got a will, if you've not got that plan ahead will to give those instructions, but even if you have, in our experience over 30 years of advising families and dealing with their affairs once somebody's passed, we believe and note the 6-minute rule. The 6-minute rule when reading a will after somebody's died is that it takes 6 minutes for everybody to ask, when do I get the money? If you planned ahead and it's organised, it can be very, very quickly. If it's not, it could be 5 years, especially cross-border when each country has to line up with the regulations and the laws and the taxes to be cleared. So the debts, the tax and the estate are paid before the beneficiaries get their money. To make a will, to start the planning process across border, contact us at ProACTPartnership.com. What's a bad way to die? Is this a bad way to die or is it a good way to die? I'm not sure. But a bad way to die could be that your funeral plan is a cheque that you leave to pay for the funeral and the cheque bounces. And you can buy a funeral plan which pre-plans your funeral expense. You can buy insurance which repatriates your body at home to do that. Some countries don't allow cremation. Some don't want you to be buried in their churchyard. So there are different horses for different courses for different jurisdictions. So you may need insurance to repatriate you home to where you want to be buried, or there could be a funeral plan to cover those costs as well, or you could go with the cheque that bounces. And again, the funeral plans and the pre-arrangements can have the gravestone, the family gravestones, and the memorials can be in that place as well. So that's another way that to consider planning ahead to get everything organised and so that the family have got the minimum time and stress and distress when you pass, so your affairs can pass to somebody else. ProACT also recommend going the next step. So if you don't want to go through the cost and delay and time of a probate administration when somebody dies, a halfway house will be to create a family trust. You don't have to give your money to a pension company or to an investment company to manage an investment portfolio of your wealth and to potentially save inheritance tax. You can create your own family trust. Now in England, they will try and tax you and try and inhibit you, but outside the UK, those jurisdictions, they do work, and we can help you manage those estates so that the right people get the money at the right time And if all your property, investment, business and pension funds are within a trust, the handover to settle the estate takes about a week or two, because you do need the death certificate and you do need the various bodies to see the death certificate and administer it. But effectively, there's transition on death with the trust is just to notify everybody of the death, and it's a 2 week. Everything can carry on. To sell a property if you want to sell and leave and relocate back home or to another country. To release money from investments, so you've got that money to continue to live on and not having to wait 1 or 2 years before the income comes through. To get you through those times, that's the important thing. That's the important thing, okay? And so plan ahead. A family trust can protect your family business, your family shares, your family property, and your income, so that there is no delay and distress when you die. It's a very good way to die with a family trust arrangement in place. Most of all, saving the cost of delay of probate. What's a bad way to die? Or what's a good way to die? Some of the best ways I've seen to die was heartwarming. Was an elderly father who was terminally ill in hospital. It was end of life treatment in the hospital. He stayed alive for 2 weeks until his daughter could come overseas to see him and say their final farewells. The night after she visited, he passed. And he held on for 2 or 3 weeks until she got there just to say goodbye. That's a good way to die. Another good way to die would be to, if you're living abroad and you're not necessarily seeing everybody, you could do your Christmas phone calls with your overseas family and friends and give everybody good wishes for New Year or for Christmas, and then pass in your sleep next day. That would be a good way to die. Wishing everybody a happy New Year and a happy Christmas. Probably the best way that I've ever heard of to die is to die in your sleep, comfortable in your sleep, with everything up to date with your family and your friends, to the extent that you're already a widow and you instruct the bank to pay all the money in your bank account to your family, and then 2 days later, as the money is being transferred, you die in your sleep. No probate, no fuss, no wills, no trauma, no confusion, no delay. It's a bit of a grey area, but the timing is magnificent to instruct the bank to pay everything over, so you've got no money to do anything in the next month, but then unexpectedly, unplanned, you pass peacefully in your sleep, knowing that your family and friends have avoided the cost and stress and delay of a probate process across border for everybody. The summary of all this is plan ahead, at least make a will so it's clear to everybody what you want and where you want the money to go. So the people that you care for, that you love, have got those things in place. They need to know that, but also, depending on how cross-border you are, you need people to assist and advise you in that overseas location, which is something that ProACT do for clients living and working abroad. So you need that help and that administration in a language and with an understanding of what you've got. So the will can help you do that and avoid a conflict 6 minutes after the will is read about who will get the money and when. But if you plan ahead and go to a family trust level, you can retain control of your assets during your lifetime and pass it on to your children, or your wife, or your spouse, or a charity, or foundation, whichever you like. That avoids all the cost and delay of probate, and it's a very good way to go. And you can pass happily in your sleep, content that you've lived the best of life, and that your family at your funeral can celebrate the life and times that you've lived. Contact us for more information, guidance on planning ahead to die very well. Contact us at ProACTPartnership.com. And don't forget, below, leave your comments on what you think is a good way to die. And if it's okay, we'll share the funny ones and the evil ones and the less pleasant ideas to see who's the most novel way to go. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you again next time.